Good morning, and welcome to day 5 of the Microbes in Art portion of topics. Yesterday we made some images, and today we're going to look at them, talk about our images, pick the ones that we like the best. That's what I have my daughter Connor here for. She's going to help me choose which are the best images. And then you'll have some time to make your own images. You can pause the video at that point. I'm probably going to go make my own as well, but not record them. And then I'll come back together and I'll show the new ones that I've made, and we'll talk about all of them a little bit. All right, so let's switch over to the other camera and look at what we did yesterday. What are those on top? What are these, Cal?
Ponies,
These are Kyle's ponies. Let's get the ponies out of the way, and we can look at the images that we did. So we've got the two that we did yesterday right here, okay? This was the first one. It was just one side, and we had 3 microbes with the grass filling in all 3 of them. So it's sort of cool how it fills it in, really nice. It's a little light, the image, meaning I think I might not have exposed it enough, but that's okay. This is the second, much more complex one that we did yesterday. So on the first side of it were 3 microbes. This one stayed in the same spot for the entire exposure. This one was replaced by the pine needles, and this one was replaced by the leaves. As you can see, the second exposure was not long enough, which is something to think about. If the second exposure had been longer, it would have gone to pure blue right there. But it was not long enough, so it didn't go to pure blue. So you still have the silhouette of the microbe. So that's something that I could improve on. And that's something to look at yours and think about improving. And then you have the other side. And personally, I really like the other side. The whole thing isn't quite as dark as the other side, so it could have used a little bit more time, but I think it was very successful. So Kala, can you tell me, which of these two do you like best? Do you like this double-sided one, or do you like the first one we did where it has lots of texture inside all of it?
this one because it had the sneaky enough.
Yeah, so Kyla likes the composition in this one. And as I was talking about it, I had 1 microbe in the middle, and then I had a second microbe sneaking in from the side to say hi to it. And these might be microbes that do different things within the body that work in different ways. So you can think about the fact that there are microbes all over our body, on our face, inside our gut, everywhere. And there's lots of different types of microbes living next to each other, doing different things for us. They are always working with us and doing good things for us. So she likes that composition with that. So that composition could be something that we play with today, right? We could do something where we have one off to the side and then another one in the middle, but then we could add texture to it. That could be fun. We had another one of sneaking up over here, didn't we? Not sneaking up, but sitting off to the side. Do you like this one? Not as much as that one. This one had this nice texture on the back. So if you were to look at a double-sided one, do you think the back should look like this with some big ones, or do you think the back should look like this with lots of little ones?
Small.
All right, so I think we've got a game plan for today then. So Kala and I are gonna work on an image where one side of it has 2 microbes in a relationship with each other, a large one and a small one, somehow one playing hide and seek or doing something in relationship to each other. And then the opposite side of it will have an exposure with lots and lots of tiny little things forming a texture or a pattern of some sort. Maybe we'll line them up a little more neatly in a pattern. What do you think? Do you think it should be random like this, or do you think we should put them in little lines or circles or something like that? Circles. So we're going to make a circle, just like the images that I showed the other day of Salome's, which were the nature circles. So maybe we'll make a nature circle on one side out of small things, and then we'll do something like this, where there's texture in one of them, but not in the other one on the other side. All right, so that's our plan. And that's what I want you to think about. I want you to look at everything that you've got, decide which you like the best, figure out how you're gonna do it. And you could even pull out a sheet of paper and do some drawings, diagram one side, say I need this exposure to be this long, and then I'm gonna move it here and I'm gonna move it there. And I'll come up with a full diagram for mine that maybe I'll show actually right after this video. I'll draw the diagram and then I'll turn it back on and we'll look at it together. I'll walk through all the steps to get to my image. And then you go out and you make the image, and I don't know how many pieces of cloth or paper you have left. You should have started with 10 pieces of cloth and 3 pieces of paper. So you could have as many as 3, 4, or 5 pieces of cloth left. So go ahead and use everything that's left and try to make as many versions as are possible, as are available of your images. Try to use both sides, try to make it as complicated as possible. And then we'll look at them together in a little bit. So first I'm going to show you the diagram. and then I'm going to show, stop the video, do some work, and then show you what my final images look like. All right. You want to say bye, Kava? That was a very quiet bye. All right, so here's the drawing I did for what I'm planning to do for my final image. It's got two sides, obviously. This will be the front side, and this is the side that Katla was really interested in. We're gonna have a large microbe sitting right in the middle. It's gonna be solid, meaning I'm gonna leave it there for both exposures. And then sticking in from the corner will be that small little tangly one, except I'm gonna remove it after the first exposure and cover it with grass. So it will be textured. And the idea is there that it's going to be camouflaged. So that guy who's sneaking in will be a camo microbe sneaking up on the other one. So that will be two exposures on this side. Both of them will be about 10 minutes. On the back of it, I'm going to do a nature pile. I think I'm going to use twigs for this. You can get a lot of twigs and do 2 layers of piles. So this nice circular form going around the outside, and then a weird sort of square form in the middle. Because you don't really see squares in nature. So I thought a square would be a nice change to the circle around. And this will just be 1 exposure on the back, I think. So it's going to be 3 total exposures, and each one will be about 10 minutes. So this will take a while to make this image. And I'll do my best. If I fail the first time, I'll use the second sheet for it. So try it out. If you have a problem, try it again. And you should definitely draw something like this. Draw a little diagram so that you know what you're doing and you know when to do it. And I can have a list here at the top, so I think I'll write that down. Exposure 1. 10 minutes with 2 microbes. Exposure 2. 10 min with 1 microbe, that's this big guy, plus grass. And then exposure 3, other side, 10 min with sticks. And then process. And that's my plan. All right, so make your plan and then make the images. And we really look forward to seeing some of these images if you can photograph them. I'm not sure, Andrea will have told your mom or your dad exactly how to do it, but hopefully we can make documentation of these and get them back to us. All right, good luck. All right, so I hope you've had time now to make the rest of your images. If you haven't, you can pause it right now and then go make them and come back to this. I made my last image from our design, and so I wanted to look at that and talk to you about it. Then we're gonna look at everything that we've done. And then I have to say thank you for taking this class. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you had a good time. All right, so let's go look at what we have. Oh, a little out of focus. All right, so if you remember, this was the drawing that we did, where we had a solid one, we had a textured guy, and then we had a nice circular pattern on the other side. And this is what we ended up with. All right. So here is the pattern on the back. It's a little wrinkly, but you can always iron these guys. They can always get ironed. You can always trim the edges, hem them, do whatever you want to. But this is the back of it with this pattern of sticks coming into it with the square in the middle. Sort of like how that came out. This came out a little funny, all right? So this was the big guy. The big guy looks great. But then this is the camouflage microbe sneaking in from the corner. And in some ways, he's too camouflaged. He was a little hard to see. And I think it's because he was just so small and the leaves and the grass was a little bit too large for him. But still looks pretty interesting. So this was that final project. So now I wanted to go through and we can just walk through every single one that we did, all right? So starting from the top, these were the very first 2 ones that we did. Very simple on paper, a little bit different feeling. Yeah, very simple designs. Then we moved on to cloth and we did these 2, where we were playing with 2 objects and then smaller objects. So they worked out pretty nicely. Then we moved on to other types of things using small objects that we found. So these were the tiny little pine cones that didn't work out quite as well, but were sort of interesting. Then there's this one. This is probably one of my favorites from the entire set of images that I made. This side was the sticks, and then on the other side was this one microbe sort of offset in the corner. A shy little guy sticking out in the corner. All right. Next one was when we learned about double exposures, how to put two things together, combine two elements into one single exposure. So this is where we masked off these areas. So it's called masking when you cover something up and then allow something else to happen there. So we masked off these areas and then put grass into them. And then there was this one, where on this side, we masked off 3 different microbes, left that one plain, and then filled the other 2 with, I think this was pine needles, and this was those little leaves. And the other side had this great little relationship between these 2 microbes, where this big guy just sitting like that, and this guy was sneaking in from the corner very shyly, which was the inspiration through my daughter for our final one. So we just looked at this guy. All right. Well, yep, there we go. And so that's the end of that. Go back to base camera. So thank you for everything, and I hope you enjoyed this time. I'm gonna put onto the screen, flash onto the screen right now, some names of places you can go, but these fabrics were all brought from a place called Blueprints on Fabric. It's a shop out of Seattle. So I would really suggest, if you want to buy any more of these, to go to that. There's also a bunch of places you can buy them from on Amazon. I think Jacques something or other sells fabric, and they all pretty much make the same thing. So that's that. You can also buy the liquids on Amazon to coat your own paper for this. I think that's about all you really need to know with it. It's an incredibly simple process. So hope you have a good summer. Hope you had fun with all these projects through tacos. And I hope next year, if you're still able to come to the camp, that I'll actually see you guys in person and we can make some art together then. Have a good summer.